going on, guys? Um, I'm not going to waste too much time here. We're just going to get right on into this. These are not normal reactions to these Ren chapters, but we're taking a listen to what Ren's going to tell us about his experience with his life experience. The Ren autobiography, I suppose, is what this all is. And then I'll talk a little bit about my experience with some of the same stuff, although not music stuff, because I'm not that I'm not talented like that. Sure wish I was. But nope, I got my Lyme disease late in life, and couldn't put it to use like this, like he did, in such a positive way. So anyway, without any more, um, um, crap for me. Let's go ahead and do this. I don't edit. What you see is what you get. If I spent time editing, these would never go out because I would never be happy with them. So yep, you guys just get me, and this is me. So I'm not gonna cover it up or try to fake anything. So here we go. Let's do this.
My therapist was scowling at my weekly anxiety and depression scores like a detective trying to crack.
Oh, we're on chapter 3. So if you haven't watched the other two, go check them out. I guess I'll drop links to them. All these. I know that I said in one of the videos that I wasn't sure about doing them, but the feedback that I've gotten was that yes, go ahead and keep doing them. Ren put these out for a reason. This isn't anything really that he has kept secret. Any hardcore renegades have already heard the majority of this through all the different live streams, interviews, and every bit of Ren information that we've gone out and found. So he's going into a little bit more detail, and he's putting it all down in the timeline, which is really nice. I will have some. I've been waiting to bring out my Sick Boy pop-up video. I don't know, some of you saw the High Ren pop-up video that I did. I've been dragging my feet on the Sick Boy one just because those take a lot more effort than this does, and those require me adding a lot of stuff in and trying to sync it up and time it. So it's taking a little bit longer, and but when I heard that he was doing these, I was like, maybe I should wait, get this all in a nice timeline. So this way I can have all the information be accurate. I think I got 2 facts wrong on the High Ren video, and of course they were the only thing that people commented on. Well, not the only thing. People did say they really liked the video, and that was pretty good. But seems that when you make a mistake is when you get the most comments, or if it's something that people dislike, as opposed to something that people like. You get don't quite get as many. YouTube's funny that way. But anyway, people said, yeah, go ahead and do them. A couple people said that they've helped them, which, hey, great if it does. Here I am from another night of no sleep. I didn't sleep last night. I've been up all night. I play a game on my phone when I'm lying in bed trying to rest. When I get tired of laying there and not falling asleep, I play a little bit of the game for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then I try to go back to. Then I'll push it aside and I'll try to go back to sleep again. And then when I fail at that, then back on the phone for a little bit. I'm on level. If you look at the game that I play, I'm on level 1300 and some. And this is the 3rd time playing through the game because I've broken 2 of these phones already. And so I've had to reinstall the game, and so that should tell you how much sleep I don't get. probably equate to about level 4,000 in this game if I was still playing it with just one thing. Let me know if there's a way to save the phone games progress. So when you switch phones, you don't lose all of your stuff. It's very annoying. But anyway, okay, so anyway, let's get back to this. We're on chapter 3. And where did we leave off? I think he was going to start. I think he's going to talk about him getting the fecal transplant stuff and his stomach issues. So anyway, let's go ahead and do this. Sorry.
Particularly stubborn. My therapist was scowling at my weekly anxiety and depression scores like a detective trying to crack a particularly stubborn case. There were no signs of improvement, and the scores followed no real measurable pattern that were consistent with bipolar. After nearly 2 years of talk therapy and taking enough medications to fill a pharmacy, he sat down with me and he dropped the bombshell that he didn't think that I had bipolar. In fact, he said that he didn't think that I had depression at all. And it was a very odd thing to be stripped of an identity in an instant. The reality was that a 20-minute in-and-out consultation 2 years ago led to 2 years of swallowing pills that I never needed and devoting so much of my time to managing the condition that I never actually had. The emotions inside me swirled around like a mismatched soup. On one hand, I was full of anger and I was bitter about the whole situation, but I was also hopeful that this new path could offer me the relief that I desperately needed. He told me he was going to refer me to an ME clinic in Bath. I'd never heard of it before, but instinctively true to character, I started researching it online as soon as I got home. Apparently, ME is the medical equivalent of a choose-your-own-adventure book, with tiredness as the only consistent plotline. There were no universally accepted reasons as to why the fuck it existed in the first place. It seemed it was largely accepted to be a post-viral condition, but that was all speculative because there were no clear consensus in the medical community what ME even was. The defining characteristic was a tiredness that wouldn't go away with rest. I could relate to this. In fact, I could more than relate to it. For anyone lucky enough to not have experienced this, if you want an idea of what it's like, force yourself to stay awake for 3 nights in a row. During this time, eat the food that makes you feel terrible, and in this sleep-deprived state, exercise until your muscles give out. By the 3rd day, you'll have a small insight into living with this condition. During the years post-stem cell transplant, where I recovered a lot of my health and functionality, I remember getting COVID and thinking it was a walk in the park compared to the first year of my illness. The difference was COVID lasted about a week. The thick of my illness lasted 8 years, and it only was getting worse. I pinned a lot of hope on going to that first visit at the ME clinic. It was a 6-month waiting list, God bless NHS wait times, but I felt excited to be surrounded by people who would understand me, where I could climb out of this nightmare. But my hopes were pretty quickly crushed during that first visit. I remember walking into a space that looked like a disused classroom where a bunch of people on chairs were sitting around in circles like Alcoholics Anonymous. I could feel a sense of camaraderie in that we all felt like dog shit. We were all confused and we were all desperately wanting to feel better. I believe at the time I was probably the youngest in the group. The group leader waddled in and handed us all a booklet that looked like a school timetable. She then sat us down and told about this new revolutionary technique called pacing, where you write down and track everything that you do in a day, and then you do it less. And then with time, do it more again. The theory being that you have a limited bucket of energy compared to normal people, and you need to protect that and gradually push it. I thought this sounded pretty stupid, so I raised my hand. I told her about the pain in my body. I told her that my muscles twitched constantly. I told her that my bones ached. I told her that my mouth was dry. I couldn't focus. That some days they'd be without mercy and I'd be trapped in bed for the whole day. But the days that I wasn't, I wanted to make the most of it. I wanted to breathe the air and I wanted to live. She told me she understood it's hard, but she didn't really offer more than that. She just pointed at the booklet and told me to follow it. I asked her about things like heavy metal poisoning, about chronically reactivating viruses, about defective mitochondria, about all the things that I read that were linked to chronic fatigue, but she just raised an eyebrow, looked at me like I was a hypochondriac and told me she knew nothing about those things. I remember walking out of the building feeling disheartened and defeated, so much so that my legs buckled as I was walking home. I began to sob uncontrollably on the side of the road. An old woman knelt down to comfort me and asked me what was wrong. I didn't even really know how to explain, so I just told her that I missed my friend. Despite my skepticism, I stuck to the program for at least half a year, and I kept going for my periodic visits to the clinic, and it did jack shit. In fact, I got worse. I was always getting worse. One thing that particularly struck me about the ME support groups was the pure desperation and confusion. With most other conditions, you're given a diagnosis, a prognosis of whether it's going to kill you, and what you can do to manage it or cure it. With ME, you don't get that. You get an indeterminately long sentence to purgatory. You feel worse than you've ever felt in your whole life, and you're given no explanation as to why, and no signpost pointing the way out. There was no selection bias to the people suffering. Members of the group were anything from esteemed ex-lawyers to single parents to former athletes. One thing I can say, these people were for the most part all extremely driven and collectively mourning their old lives. There's a stigma that because ME's predominant presentation of symptoms is tiredness, that its victims are just being lazy. I can tell you firsthand that me and every single person I've met with genuine ME would rather run 1,000 marathons than have to live another week with the tiredness and the unrelenting fatigue. We were at war with our tiredness, trying desperately to escape it, and some of us would go to extreme lengths to turn ourselves into guinea pigs to try and find ways out. Suicide was pretty common in those online support groups. It was around this time I was swallowed into the music industry. I was out busking on the streets one day and I noticed this sketchy, good-looking Mauritian guy with his arms crossed watching me, really intensely, as though he was studying every lyric coming out of my mouth. He approached me and asked me if the songs I was singing were mine. I said they were. A big smile was painted across his face, and he told me he just finished recording Plan B's latest record, which turned out to be The Defamation of Strickland Banks, one of my favourite albums of all time. He was looking for a new project to sink his teeth into, and he asked me if I'd come to London to record. We got into it. The whole time I felt dreadful, but this was a lifelong dream materialising in front of my eyes, so bit by bit, when I could, I'd get the train to London and start chipping away at my first ever album. I didn't really let on how I was feeling during this time because I didn't want to sabotage it. There would be times I'd finish up in the vocal booth after doing the take, excuse myself to go to the toilet, throw up from the dizziness I was experiencing, sometimes with specks of blood, and then I'd go back and pretend that nothing had happened. I'd be sitting around with the whole room spinning and would pretend I was fine. There was only so long that I was able to keep this up. Eric told me it'd be a cool idea for me to start going to industry showcases and start building buzz. Performing live like this was a whole new level of taxing that I wasn't ready for, but I was so ferociously ambitious that I just ploughed through. The usual way it would go is I'd be in the back of Charlie's car, the whole world would be spinning, I'd be trying my best to sleep in it all day, parked up outside of whatever venue or pub it was in London, trying to conserve energy for the show. Sometimes I'd cry a little before I performed. My whole body would be burning. Then I'd brush it off and I'd get on stage and I'd perform as best I could. People would come up to me at the end, pat me on the back. I'd smile and pretend to be charismatic. Then I'd get back in the car and I wish I was in bed and have to endure a 3-hour drive back to Bath from London. There was only a few shows where I could keep pretending. I'd usually be trying to disguise the fact that my body was trembling through the fatigue and pain. Eventually I started crying mid-set. It became blindingly obvious to everyone working with me during that time that something was very wrong. I told Eric that I needed to take some time out. My plan was to live at home with my mum for a month maximum, get my energy back, and come and finish the record. That 1 month turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months, turned into 6 months. I'd pushed myself to total burnout. The distance led to me and that angel breaking up, in part because it was difficult to navigate a relationship when you have so much brain fog, and I didn't know what it was well enough to be able to explain it to her at the time. With a loud thud, I'd been jolted out of a Shakespearean storyline, I lost the record deal, and I couldn't get out of bed. My friends from Trick the Fox never really called to check up on me. It felt like the whole world was moving at lightning speed without me. I had this amazing opportunity right in front of me, and I was chained to the floor. I was alone, I was sick. I wished that my condition would get it over with and kill me, but it wouldn't, and it felt cruel that it wouldn't. It just let me rot in bed. The whole world would continue to turn, and I would rot. In the next episode, I'm going to tell you about a fight with a television and losing my anal virginity to an 80-year-old man. Stay tuned for that.
All right. Okay. Looks like the next episode's going to be on the fecal transplant. ME. Chronic fatigue. That's what I call it, and that's what I know it by. It it's brutal. Um, it's the it's the biggest battle, um, and it's 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 just like he says. It's just a breast that doesn't help, doesn't do anything for you. Um, I've you can see my computer chair is a recliner, um, and it's that way for a reason because I've had days that I've just spent stuck in this chair, um, unable to do anything but sleep, and it's just awful sleep. It just doesn't do anything for you. You get up and you feel just as tired as you did before, um, and sometimes worse. And you're just in a brain fog. Um, I I wander I wander around this house, from room to room sometimes in the middle of the night, just in a daze, just in a confusion. I call it my being a zombie, because that's what I feel like. I'm just brain dead, and I'm just walking from room to room. Sometimes I just get the blanket over my head, like Beavis, Butthead, Beavis, um, from Beavis and Butthead, like a little kid playing pretending to be a ghost or whatever. I just get the blanket over my head and I'm just walking around the house, just in a daze, state of confusion. I want to go back to he had some stuff that he was writing here about the ME and its causes. Um, and the one thing that I am being told is that it's a parasite that you get along with the Lyme disease, but it just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go away. The treatment for Lyme disease is a 2-week antibiotic course of doxycycline, I think. I think that's what it's called. What's going on here? Don't do this. Bye. You stick it there.
Online as soon as I got home.
Unexplained signs and symptoms: unexplained fatigue, inability to perform tasks that were previously possible. 6 months post exertional malaise, sleep disturbance.
Apparently, ME is the medical equivalent of a choose-your-own event.
Unrefreshing sleep doesn't help at all.
With tiredness as the only consistent plot line.
All right, exactly the cause and mechanism is unknown. Yeah, possible infectious origin. Females 2 to 4 times more common. That I did not know. Age 30 to 60 most commonly. Okay. So now, with the Lyme disease, the medical protocol that I'm on, that I was given and was told that this will work, says that there's a parasite that is transferred over to you, along with the Lyme disease, or from the tick, and it's somewhere in my brain. So, like a bottle of tequila, I've got a worm somewhere inside of me that is fucking with me. I don't know why he wants to make me so tired, and why he needs so much goddamn rest, but apparently that's what it is. So, I am on a 2-month, 60-day protocol of these 4 different antibiotics slash I guess they're all antiviral fighters of some sort. Some are for livestock and some are for humans. that's how I um, have to get it. So anyway, that's what we're on, and that's what we're trying, and hopefully that will lead to something good. But yeah, you're just so tired. You're no focus. Relationships, like you said, he couldn't maintain the relationship. Relationships become hard. You don't want to do anything. You're so tired that you can't get up. That you lose the will to do anything. Um, my brother, my younger brother, we've been together through a lot. We've had to deal with a lot growing up, from wicked stepfathers to just places we grew up at where we had to deal with certain difficulties. But we've been through a lot, and I really thought that meant something. Um, and I was always proud of the fact that our family had been through hell growing up. Um, it's definitely a dysfunctional family, and we'd been through hell growing up, but we had all managed to still stay together. Um, and then he started he started doing blacksmithing, and it's all he wanted to do. And I couldn't. I wanted to do stuff with him, but that's all he wanted to do. And those events that he wanted to do and go to were like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and it was 8 hour event of where he was going to be banging on metal for who knows how long, and dealing with this, and then not being able to hardly do anything for an hour or two, and then having to say, oh my God, I'm going to go spend 12 hours or 8 to 12 hours all day doing this thing, and I just canceled a lot of things. I couldn't do it physically. Um, it was just impossible, and that, and we think that through a little um, coercion from a friend of his that doesn't like me apparently, who I've found out semi-poisoned my nieces and nephews against me, as well as my brother and my sister-in-law, who they've all um, blocked me from the family, and because yeah, because of my Lyme disease and the fact that I couldn't, it just affected my life, and made me cancel things. So anyway, relationships get real hard to maintain. Just gets real hard to just maintain normal life and to go on. All right, let's get to the song. What song do we got today? And thanks for tuning in. I hope these are helpful to people. And yeah, that's it. So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And go check out Ren. Make sure go give him a like, subscribe if you haven't. I can't believe that you haven't already. But make sure to pay this man much love and respect for bearing himself like this, and making it possible for all the rest of us to try to find some help. Anyway, let's go.
And buzz. Performing live like this was a whole new level.
Sorry, we gotta go a little further. My fault. That's not. Come on, Chris. Let's do this. Oh, well, that's a lick video. Oh, depression. Okay. Ooh, okay. This is a heavy one. All right, here we go.
My thought patterns are composed by a time bomb for an author, like pigs to the slaughter. A symphony of self-doubt sings out, breath starts getting shorter, running water. It's the state that I wish to become. Instead, concrete envelops my movement and I'm rendered deaf and dumb, unable to heed the advice of others. Don't tell me things will get better, cause so far things haven't gotten better. I've got the sweater, poster child, bipolar, ADHD, therapist, wet dream. I don't want to talk about my father, I don't want to talk about my dead friend, I don't want to talk about myself. I'm sick of talking about myself. I'm sick of talking about myself and realizing that talking about myself never ever helps. Still, I call for help, cause I really want help. But the pills didn't seem to help, and the therapist didn't seem to help. But still, I want help. I've danced with the devil in hell, I've sat in a prisonless cell, and here I always dwell, in this prison in myself. I do this thing where my mind travels back to the golden age. You know those times where you were carefree and everything was golden? The golden age. You know those times where everything was golden, where you were carefree and everything was golden? The hardest thing I ever had to do was come to terms with the fact that that time never really existed. I've always felt so fucking detached and broken, bruised and mismatched. Find it hard to relax, living under the cracks. Tried to fill in the gaps, lying here on my back. Still, I can't find it. Sense of peace in my mind declined it. Pulse increase and my sweat combines with a feeling so deep I fall inside it. Depression, I hate you, depression. Your constant oppression, respond with aggression. They say depression brings you lessons. Constant stressing conceals blessings. You will grow in broken settings. Fuck those lessons, fuck depression. I've been living in your shadow for so long that I forgot how I can shine, how I can find a refuge in my mind. How am I meant to sit here and unwind? The planets align. I feel like I'm cursed, feel like I'm cursed to just be here to hurt. Feel like I'm cursed to just be here to bleed, but my demons been feeling this way since birth. Depression, I hate you. 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 Depression, I hate you.
What can you say? It's just a good song. Very very emotional. Very deep. Very sad. But But anyway, it's I guess that sums up the. I guess that sums up the essay spoken part of his video well though. All right. Well, that's all I got. So we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Sorry. Every time I'm always thinking, even no matter how many times I've seen the video, heard the song of Rens, you get something more out of it every time you listen to it. Something more connects, or you get a little bit deeper into the lyrics, um, and it's always thoughtful, thought compelling. Anyway, thanks, guys. Please like, sub. Let's get these subs up to. I'd really love to see 250. That would be wonderful. That would be almost double. That would be double what it is now, and that would be wonderful to see. But and tell me what else we can check out. I need some new stuff. I need some stuff to listen to. I need some ideas. Can't do this on my own. I mean, you don't know what you'll be listening to. You don't want to give me that control. Anyway, thanks. Later.